Now you may or may not have seen my What the Fuck Happened to Terminator video. I want to let you guys know I plan on turning What the Fuck Happened to into a series on the channel. And if you visit my community tab, you can vote for which movies you'd like me to cover next. Anyway, Resident Evil. In 1993, Capcom started working on their first survival horror game. 3 years later, in 1996, they released Resident Evil, and by December 1997, the game had sold over 4 million copies worldwide, becoming an international bestseller and the highest selling PlayStation game at the time. And when Hollywood saw Capcom's success, they wanted a slice of the pie for themselves. So the live action rights were acquired and production begun. Resident Evil, released in 2002, written and directed by Paul W.S. Anderson. On a budget of $33 million, the movie grossed a total of $103 million worldwide. And because of its financial success, of course that means sequels. Lots of sequels. There are 6 Resident Evil movies I'm going to be covering in this video. A whole saga of shit. Back to number 1. If you haven't seen it, the film follows our main character Alice and a specialist military unit sent by the Umbrella Corporation to investigate their top secret underground research facility known as the Hive. But they soon discover a viral outbreak has turned the facility staff into zombies, and now the unit must do what they can to survive and escape from the Hive.
You're all going to die down here.
Now I don't know about you, but I'm a sucker for the zombie genre. I absolutely love zombies. Reanimated mindless corpses with a ravenous appetite for human flesh. They don't feel pain, they don't get tired, they just keep coming. What's not to love? It's a recipe for suspenseful scenes like this. However, these zombies aren't perfect. The CGI makeup isn't great. And somehow, the guy who fell doesn't even die here. Also, there's a few scenes of zombies standing around when they should be attacking. Like here. There's one zombie trying to bite the dude, and the rest are just waiting their turn. That being said, these zombies feel a lot more grounded in reality when compared to the zombies in the later sequels. As much as zombies can feel grounded in reality, that is. Minus the lickers as well. Speaking of lickers, the CGI looks shit. I was going to cut them some slack and say the CGI isn't that bad for 2002. But then I remembered Lord of the Rings The Two Towers came out the same year, and Gollum's CGI looks fantastic. So there's really no excuses. Yes, Lord of the Rings had a higher budget, but if you can't afford good CGI, then don't use CGI at all. Also, while doing research for this video, I found out that in the games, lickers were created with the G virus, yet in this movie, lickers are created with the T virus.
What the fuck is that?
One of the Hive's early experiments, produced by injecting the T virus directly into living tissue.
So not only did the movie get the Resident Evil lore wrong, they didn't even need to and shouldn't have included the shitty CGI licker in the first place.
That totally looks real. That's great. That looks like it's really, really there.
You serious?
If you've seen my other videos, you might assume I dislike Michelle Rodriguez's character for being a strong. But you'd be wrong. I actually really like her character. It helps she gives the best performance out of the entire cast. I don't even mind the overly tough girl persona. It makes sense. She's a trained commando. Plus, this film came out in a time when they weren't trying to ram their woke agenda down your throat. Rain is simply a woman who just so happens to be strong. Alice isn't even really a strong woman in this one. The most badass thing she does is kill a few zombies and kick a dog. I adore that some of the Hive employees from the opening scene we see again later on as zombies. Feels very Shaun of the Dead, even though this film came out before Shaun of the Dead, so technically, Shaun of the Dead feels very Resident Evil. I mean, Shaun of the Dead definitely did it better, but it was a nice touch here. The most memorable scene in the movie for me is the laser hallway. Such an iconic death. If only he backed up a little bit. Also, this one has a great ending that sets up the next film perfectly. which is something I can't say for the sequels. All in all, I think this is the best film in the franchise. It's my personal favourite, so I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10. Resident Evil Apocalypse, released in 2004, directed by Alexander Witt and written by Paul W.S. Anderson. On a $45 million budget, it made $129 million at the box office. If you haven't seen it, this one picks up directly after the events of the last one. Umbrella still wants to know what happened in the hive, so they open it up and unleash the apocalypse. Umbrella then seals off Raccoon City to contain the virus, leaving Alice and a group of survivors trapped. Now they have to find a way to escape the city before Umbrella drops a nuclear bomb. The last time I watched this movie, I was a kid, and I remember really liking this one. However, upon rewatch, it isn't as good as I remembered. Don't get me wrong, it's not bad. It's still one of the best entries in the franchise. I just didn't like how they prioritised flashy action sequences over common sense and logic. Like in this scene, our survivors are trapped in a church with 3 lickers. And just as they're about to get fucked up, Alice crashes a motorbike through the church window, kills the lickers and saves the day. But how the fuck did Alice know to come to the church? How did she know they needed help? And then later on in the film, Jill and Angie are being chased by zombie dogs. So Jill turns all the gas on in the kitchen and throws a match. Unfortunately, her match goes out. Luckily though, Alice is there. She flicks her cigarette, the dogs explode and Alice saves the day again. Yet again. I find myself asking, how did she know they needed help? The only answer is, Alice got injected with the T-virus, bonded with it and was given the power of convenience, to be exactly where the script needs her to be at the exact time it needs her to fucking be there. In case you couldn't tell, I'm not exactly a fan of the Alice having powers bullshit. And by the end of the movie, it only gets worse. Now Alice is psychic. Just by looking into a camera, she's able to kill the camera operator. What a useful power, being able to kill people with your mind. I wonder if she ever uses it again.
No.
You remember the graveyard scene? How the fuck did the zombies raise out of their graves? They don't have the T-virus. They were underground in sealed coffins. I get they wanted a cool looking scene. I just wish it made sense in the world they created. Also, for some reason, all the zombies make the same sound when they die. I really would have appreciated more of a focus on the horror elements. Yes, we get a few creepy scenes, like the one in the school with the zombie children, and the one at the end with the horde of zombies eating the bad guy. But other than that, the rest of the zombies are treated like a joke. They get a weird shaky effect and tits. This movie gives us zombie tits. What a confusing erection that was. In the first movie and this one, they actually created practical animatronics for the lickers. That looked pretty damn good. So I have no idea why they decided to use shitty CGI again. Also in the first movie, the Red Queen says this about the lickers.
Now that it has fed on fresh DNA, it will mutate.
Yet in this one, after feeding on fresh DNA, nothing happens. No mutation, no nothing. The writers can't even stick to their own lore that they created. I really like the fact Nemesis is done without CGI. It's all practical effects, just a guy in a suit, and for the most part, it looks superb. I even enjoyed the character, which might annoy fans of the games. Apparently, movie Nemesis is a big old pussy compared to his digital counterpart. But I've only ever played Resident Evil 5, so it doesn't bother me at all. That being said, I didn't like his ending, and the editing during his last fight is fucking awful. There's far too many quick cuts. You can barely make out what's happening, and at the end of it, somehow Alice wins. Remember I said she wasn't really a strong woman in the first movie? Well, now she is.
I think it's happening more and more that women are taking over all the action movies.
What do you think you're doing?
The audience likes it.
Wrong.
I don't care how much she bonded with the T-virus. I don't care what powers she's got. There's no way 7 Stone Alice, that's £98 for my American viewers, is able to kick the shit out of Nemesis. The dude's built like a tank, whereas Alice, she's built like a fucking twig. All he had to do was pick her up and snap her like Bane did to Batman. However, that's not what we get. Oh no. Instead, Alice fucks him up. then decides not to finish him off because she remembers he's Matt from the first movie. Then all of a sudden, he remembers he's Matt from the first movie. He then decides to help Alice, even though he's tried to kill her multiple times throughout this movie. Now he's a good guy again, and sacrifices himself for Alice. Fuck off, film. Just like number 1, they have to set up the sequel. So in the last 10 minutes, Alice dies an incredibly unnecessary death. She then gets cloned, and it's revealed Umbrella have a satellite that can control her. I wonder how Alice is going to deal with that. We'll have to wait and see. During the fight scene at the very end of the movie, I noticed something funny going on in the background. All of my colleagues are being killed in the other room, so I'm going to wank off my lab mate real quick.
I might not get another chance.
I like Carlos. He's a cool character, but my favourite is LJ. Originally, the character was supposed to be played by Snoop Dogg, until he dropped out of production and was replaced with Mike Epps, who did a terrific job.
Whoa! Shit, I'm a bad motherfucker. I'm a bad mother. Let me get the fuck up out of here.
Because LJ's fucking hilarious. 6 out of 10. Resident Evil Extinction. Released in 2007, directed by Russell Mulcahy and written by Paul W.S. Anderson. At the box office, the movie grossed $147 million worldwide, against a budget of only $45 million. Doing a plot summary for this one almost feels pointless. There's hardly any plot to summarise. The events of this film unfold solely because Alice discovers a little red book and wholeheartedly believes every word it says. Alice is still evading the Umbrella Corporation until she somehow just so happens to bump into Carlos from the previous movie. She then joins his merry band of survivors and helps them obtain a helicopter to fly to Alaska, because that's where the book tells her to go. But Alice decides to stay behind, for no other reason than the film needs a climactic fight scene. And of course we have to set up the sequel, so the camera pans away revealing a shit ton of Alice clones. Don't worry, I'll get to them soon. Back to that fucking book. Now I understand she wants to believe in something, anything, in a world without hope. But surely the sensible thing to do is verify the claims made in the book for yourself, before convincing the men, women and children of Claire Redfield's convoy to go there.
Alaska.
Which inadvertently gets the majority of them killed before they even get to Alaska.
Good job.
I still don't like the Alice having powers bullshit. In Apocalypse, she was given psychic powers, yet in this one, for some reason she's been given the fucking Force. Alice raises her motorbike and some rocks off the ground like a Jedi. She uses Force Shield to protect Carlos, then forces the fire upwards to kill the crows. And she uses Force Shield again and Force Push during her final fight. Unfortunately though for her, mutated Dr. Isaacs also has the Force. He manages to overpower Alice. And all I kept thinking was, why isn't she using her psychic powers to melt his brain? We know she can do it, we've seen it. So why isn't she? Oh yeah, that's right. This franchise gives zero fucks about consistency. The previous movie sets up an intriguing plot point. How the fuck is Alice going to deal with an Umbrella satellite that can literally control her?
It was super easy, barely an inconvenience.
When the satellite is activated, Alice becomes frozen in place. However, she quickly unfreezes herself using her powers to fry the satellite's chip, rendering it inoperable. So the payoff to Apocalypse's setup was this one pointless scene. Fucking wow, movie.
How embarrassing. How embarrassing.
At the end of Apocalypse, Alice drives off with Carlos, Jill, LJ and Angie. Then at the start of this one, Alice is on her own, till she randomly bumps into Carlos. But what happened to the rest of them? Well, LJ's here too. Kinda. In my opinion, they ruined his character. He's no longer the comic relief. Now he's just a selfish cunt risking his friends' lives by keeping it a secret he's been bitten. And you know what makes it even worse? In the previous movie, LJ says to Carlos after finding out he'd been bit,
Should have told me you got bit, motherfucker. I'm hanging with you and shit.
So LJ either forgot his morals about telling people when you've been bitten, or he's a fucking hypocrite. You know, LJ and Alice don't even have a scene together. I know he's been bitten by the time she shows up, so he's probably got other things on his mind. But you'd think after surviving the previous movie together, they'd at least say hi to one another. Plus, he's the reason Carlos dies. So fuck LJ. What happened to Angie? Why isn't she with Carlos and LJ? Well, the film doesn't do its job and tell us, so I had to Google it. Apparently, in the novelisation, Alice killed Angie while under the control of the Umbrella satellite. So they do actually do something with the satellite storyline. We just don't get to fucking see it.
Oh, come on!
And as for Jill, I'll tell you what happened to her in the next one. They give us even more dodgy CGI with the crows and tentacles. All I can say is, at least there's no fucking lickers this time around. I've shit on this film quite a bit, but I do actually like it. It's damn fun, and it's my second favourite after the first one. I love the post-apocalyptic Mad Max type aesthetic. Very cool. I really like the zombies' makeup and practical effects. Beautiful stuff. Speaking of beautiful stuff, mutated Dr. Isaacs is done with practical effects as well, and he looks magnificent. Also, hats off to the costume designer. Alice's outfit is the perfect combination of sexy and badass. We get some cool characters in this one, like Claire, Cowboy Man and Carlos, who gets a fantastic death scene. When I think of the Resident Evil movies, two scenes spring to mind, the laser hallway and Carlos smoking a spliff as he explodes. Not as good as the first, but better than the second. 6.5 out of 10. Resident Evil Afterlife was released to audiences in 2010, written by Paul W.S. Anderson and directed by Paul W.S. Anderson. On a budget of 60 million, the movie grossed worldwide a total of 300 million. I have absolutely no idea how this film made that much money. I guess everyone wanted to see what was going to happen next after Extinction's cliffhanger.
The time has come.
The fucking clones. Now, believe it or not, I actually like the idea of having an army of Alice clones take on Umbrella. Why not? These films are already nonsensical. Might as well have some fun with it. But alas, Paul W.S. Anderson can't even do fun right. The whole opening fight scene is a joke. We get piss-poor wire work, trained Umbrella soldiers who have worse aim than stormtroopers, and what the fuck are the camera eyes about? Not only that, there are a few shots that are very similar to The Matrix, but the biggest offender of this is the jumping out the window scene. It doesn't even look good. The CGI is fucking awful. Matrix Reloaded was released in 2003, yet somehow has better CGI than this film that came out in 2010. And if I want to be really nitpicky, which of course I do, in the scene where Wesker shoots an Alice clone in the chest, she drops her guns and dies, Wesker then approaches, flips her over, and now she's holding 2 grenades. Where the fuck did she get them from? She's wearing a skin-tight suit with no pockets. So unless she literally pulled them out of her arse, I'm calling bullshit. In Extinction, we are shown Dr. Isaacs has been cloning Alice's, then putting them into a death maze to see if they're strong enough to survive. However, all the clones die because they didn't bond with the T-virus like the original Alice did. And because they didn't bond with the T-virus, they don't have powers. Yet for some unknown reason in Afterlife, the clones have powers. What the fuck? How? Well, Dr. Isaacs says,
The original Project Alice is vital to my research. Her blood, her genetic structure is the key.
So maybe, at the end of Extinction, Alice sat there extracting her blood, then injecting it into thousands of her clones.
Somehow I doubt that.
Not that it matters anyway. Extinction may have set up the Alice clones story arc, but Afterlife kills them all off in the first 15 minutes of the movie. Fuck that plot point, I guess. Moving on. After exploding the facility and killing all the Alice clones, Wesker flies away. Unbeknownst to him, the real Alice is aboard his plane. But instead of melting his brain with her psychic powers, she sneaks up behind him, puts her gun to his head and asks him,
Any last words?
Giving Wesker enough time to inject Alice with some random bullshit that removes her powers.
Making me human again.
Wesker then starts kicking the absolute shit out of Alice, all the while forgetting he has to fly the plane, which crashes into the side of a mountain. Well, that's it. Film's over. Alice and Wesker are both dead. Wait a sec. How in the fuck does Alice walk away from that? Wesker literally made her human again 1 minute ago. She shouldn't be able to survive that with her powers, let alone without.
Now piss off!
6 months later, Alice is flying to Alaska, and even that creates inconsistencies. Extinction established the Earth had begun to wither and die, as Alice says.
Forests became deserts.
So how come there's all these forests in Alaska then? Fuck it. Let's be generous and say Alaska wasn't affected by the virus. Los Angeles is where Alice goes after Alaska, and LA has a lot of forests. So where the fuck is the desert landscape from the last movie? In the plane on the way to Alaska, Alice is vlogging when she says,
I hope Claire and the others made it.
if only she went with them at the end of Extinction, instead of staying behind to fight Dr. Isaacs. Then we wouldn't have to waste time looking for the people Alice could have and should have protected. You know, seeing as going to Alaska was her idea in the first place. This becomes even more apparent later when they find out.
This whole thing, Kedia, it was a lie.
Serves Alice right for betting everyone's lives on a random book she fucking found.
What are you, retarded?
More shitty CGI crows again. Claire's back, but she's not herself. The umbrella scarab on her chest is controlling her, making her attack Alice. Now, I've played a lot of Resident Evil 5, which is where the booby spider first appears. And if you don't know, it's a pain in the arse to get off. You have to shoot it, then tear at it. Shoot at it, tear at it. Shoot at it, tear at it. Over and over again, until it finally comes off. However, if you miss the scarab, so I was very interested to see how Alice was going to get it off Claire. But no, they don't show us and skip over that. Then, to add insult to injury, they have Alice talk about getting it off.
Sorry about that. But I had to get this thing off of you.
You suck!
And at the end of the film, Kmart has a booby spider on her as well. And Claire says,
Let me get this off you.
but then instead of showing us, it cuts to Alice. Fuck you, film. Claire goes from dirty and homeless looking to clean and beautiful between scenes. How though? I'm pretty sure they don't have showers and makeup in that abandoned airfield they were just at. The normal zombies look really good. The shitty CGI flappy mouth ones? Not so much. If you don't know, those zombies are called Magini, and they're from Resident Evil 5. In the game, the reason they look like that isn't because of the T-virus. It's because they've been infected with the Las Plagas parasite. However, the movie doesn't explain why these zombies look like this. Were they infected by the parasite? Are they the result of the T-virus mutating? Fuck knows. Paul W.S. Anderson just likes referencing things from the games, without providing the much-needed context in his films.
You dickhead!
Alice sees a help us sign on a building's roof, and crash lands her plane on top of it. She meets a group of survivors who have been taking refuge in a prison, and this is where we meet Chris Redfield. Kind of. He's Chris Redfield in name only. The Chris I know has massive boulder-punching biceps. So in my opinion, the Chris actor should have muscles like Schwarzenegger, not like tiny arms here.
I know a way out of this place.
Of course the fucking Prison Break guy knows how to break out of prison. Also, another thing I don't like about this imposter Chris is every time he speaks, he's doing a squinty-eye tough guy whisper.
That's true. I don't think so. All the way. I shouldn't be in here. All right. Let's go. So what's next?
The survivors eventually have to leave the prison. Not because they shoot flares and light torches every night. Not because all the zombies they attracted from shooting flares and lighting torches every night break down the gate. Oh no. The reason the survivors have to leave the prison is because somehow the zombies have learned how to burrow through concrete.
I think my brain just committed suicide. I can feel it bleeding. Oh my god.
The gate does get broken down. Not by all the zombies though. By the executioner. Yet another game reference that's only here because Paul W.S. Anderson thought it would be cool. The thousands of zombies that were outside the gate are now in the prison. They burst onto the roof where the survivors are, forcing them into the elevator to escape. All except Alice, because she's a... Alice runs out of ammo, then runs away while being chased by countless zombies. She then jumps off the roof with all the zombies following her, which in my opinion is the coolest shot from this entire movie. Shame they ruin it with the next shot. Alice swinging like Spider-Man looks so fucking bad. Clearly not enough of that $60 million budget went on CGI. One thing you should know about me is I absolutely detest slow-mo. And there is so much slow-mo in this movie. I had to double check it was made by Paul W.S. Anderson and not Zack Snyder. I honestly think if you sped up all the slow-mo scenes, the film would be half of its original runtime. How the fuck does the executioner sneak up on them in the bathroom? Not only would this giant cunt's footsteps be shaking the entire room, but also the big motherfucker drags a huge noisy axe behind him. I guess they're all deaf and have no peripheral vision.
Right.
The Wesker fight scene at the end gives us more Matrix rip-offs. I know Wesker moves like that in the Resident Evil 5 game, but the game probably stole it from the Matrix as well. We literally see Wesker dodge bullets. Then all of a sudden he can't dodge a knife? Fuck off.
My weakness is small knives.
Can I just say, the actor they chose isn't a believable Wesker. He lacks the Wesker presence. He isn't even trying to do the Wesker voice properly, and he's not intimidating at all. I gave him the benefit of the doubt in Execution because we didn't really see him do anything. Well, now we have, and he's still shit. In this film, we get a post-credit return of Jill Valentine. But what happened to her? Where's she been? Of course, the film didn't tell us, so again, I had to Google it. And all Google says is after Apocalypse, she joined anti-Umbrella operations. Later, she's captured by Umbrella and subsequently gets transformed into an Umbrella agent.
Wow.
3 out of 10. Fuck this movie. Resident Evil Retribution was released in 2012, written and directed by Paul W.S. Anderson.
Oh no, not again.
On a $65 million budget, this film made $240 million at the box office. And again, I don't know how these movies continue to be so profitable. After Afterlife, I'm surprised anyone would support anything even associated with Paul W.S. Anderson's name. But for some reason, they did.
Thank goodness! Wow!
This movie picks up where the previous one left off. Jill and Umbrella are attacking Arcadia. Backwards. The rewound slow-motion intro sequence can fuck off. Why would they make us watch it in reverse if they were going to show us the same scene again in normal speed? It's probably just Paul trying to be artsy. Or he's padding the runtime. Either way, I don't fucking like it. Also, at the end of Afterlife, Jill says,
"Take no prisoners and shoot to kill."
So why the fuck are there Umbrella soldiers catching people in nets? What happened to Chris and Kmart? Well, I have to assume they died during Umbrella's attack on Arcadia, because the movie doesn't tell us, and we never see them again. Claire also isn't in this film, reason being the actress was pregnant at the time, but don't worry, she shows up in the next movie, where she tells us,
Umbrella captured me at the Arcadia.
Jill clearly needs to get some new Umbrella soldiers, ones who can listen to simple instructions.
Take no prisoners.
This next point's a bit nitpicky, but Jill's wearing a completely different outfit to what she was wearing at the end of Afterlife.
Thought we wouldn't notice, but we did.
Anyway, Alice shoots her stupid coin shotgun at a military helicopter, somehow breaking the glass and killing the pilot, causing the helicopter to crash into the ship and explode, which sent Alice flying into the water, knocking her unconscious. She then wakes up in a bed, looking like Taylor Swift, and she's married to the actor who played Carlos, but he isn't Carlos. Now he's a character called Todd. Fucking Todd. What kind of a name is Todd? Todd and Mila Jovovich have a retarded daughter named Becky. Don't be offended I called the deaf kid retarded. It's not like she can hear what I said, is it?
You undone me! You undone me! I went along!
Their beautiful family morning is disrupted when out of nowhere a zombie runs in and bites a chunk out of Todd's arm. Now I've got to give this scene some credit. This actually feels like a zombie movie. It's suspenseful and fear-evoking at times, which is something Paul W.S. Anderson's zombies haven't done for a long time. But unfortunately, that's all ruined when Paul brings back the big CGI flappy mouth zombies. Oh, speaking of those zombies, this movie actually tells us how they came to be.
The T-virus didn't just bring the dead back to life. It mutated them in terrifying ways.
So they were the result of the T-virus mutating. Or were they? Later on in the movie, when Alice is in the Tokyo simulation, the zombie that bites everyone also has a big flappy mouth. But she hasn't had enough time to mutate. So what the fuck, Paul? It's almost like you're making it up as you go along. Where was I? Oh yeah, Alice and her daughter run out of their zombie-infested home, where they almost get ran over, then offered a ride by Michelle Rodriguez's character, who's a clone of Rain from the first movie. She's driving a car covered in stickers. What do the stickers say? Let's zoom in. Oh, okay. A couple of don't eat meat stickers.
What are you, gay?
Oh, alpha female. Wow. You remember in the first movie I said I liked Rain? Yeah, I don't anymore. Any cunt that would stick that on their car, then drive around, isn't an alpha female. They're a
beta female!
Oh, and a gay flag. This liberal mobile needs to be destroyed as quickly as possible.
Yay! Thanks, God.
I know they're strangers to one another, but Alice doesn't even check on Rain. She checks on her kid, then they exit the vehicle, leaving Rain behind upside down in the wreckage. And later on, when that Rain bumps into Alice and Becky, she's got the biggest smile on her face. Why is she so happy to see the people who just left her for dead? This Alice is killed by zombified Todd. But how did zombie Todd get there? When we saw him last, he was being eaten inside their home. The same home Alice and Becky ran away from, then drove away from. And after the crash, they ran into a random house. So again, how is Todd here? When the real Alice wakes up, she's an Umbrella prisoner.
Take no prisoners.
Until Umbrella's security system is disabled, freeing her and an outfit for her to wear.
How convenient.
This movie gives us Ada Wong, a character from the games faithfully brought into live action. Unlike Chris, she looks exactly how she's supposed to. The outfit is perfect, even the voice. There's a reason she sounds so much like Game Ada. It's because the voice is Game Ada. The actress Bing Bing Lee has a thick Asian accent, so all of her dialogue was dubbed by voice actress Sally Cahill.
Is that so? Trust me.
Now, while they did the right thing with Ada, the same can't be said for Leon. Again, the actor Johan Erb had a thick accent, so all of his dialogue had to be replaced as well. The guy who voiced Leon in the games, Matthew Mercer, auditioned for the role. He didn't get it.
What? What the fuck?
Ada sneaks up on Alice and puts a gun to her back. They fight and Alice ends up holding Ada at knife point. Then about 20 seconds later, we find out Ada is the one who released Alice from her cell and needs her help.
We shut down the security systems. We let you out of that cell.
So why do you want to help me?
We need you.
So knowing they need Alice's help, why would Ada pull a gun on her in the first place? That seems pretty counterintuitive to me. Also, fucking how did Wesker survive this? And why is he a good guy now? He claims it's because
the human race faces extinction. Our only hope of survival is for us to work together.
But that doesn't make sense, especially when you consider in the previous movie he was literally eating human beings. He also planned and tried to eat Alice. So what, now Wesker doesn't want to eat her anymore? Fuck me, his motives aren't consistent at all, are they? Wesker is so nice now, he arranged for a strike team to assist Alice. And this is where we meet Leon S. Kennedy. Now, even though I didn't really play Resident Evil 4, I used to watch my little brother play it. So I became quite familiar with the characters. And I'm telling you, this isn't Leon. Yes, he has the clothes and the hairstyle, but that's it. The actor is terrible at acting. He looks more like Dolph Lundgren than he does Leon, and his hair isn't even blonde. Just like with Chris, they fucked up the casting on this one big time. Again, I have to give credit where it's due. The Umbrella Soldier's death scene is really well done. The zombies are using guns now? How? Well, the Red Queen says...
Activate Las Plagas Undead.
Las Plagas being the zombies from the Resident Evil 5 game. They also used weapons. However, that's a game. The reason they used weapons is to make it more challenging for the player. Whereas in movies, it just looks goofy as fuck. But let's forget about how ridiculous this is for a second. Look how many zombies there are, all shooting in the strike team's direction. That's a lot of bullets. None of Leon's men are behind cover. They're all standing out in the open returning fire, and yet somehow none of them get shot. A bit later on, the zombies walk straight up to Leon and his men, but now, for some unknown reason, none of the zombies are shooting. Why the fuck not? They can't possibly miss at point blank range. One of the strike team do actually die to these zombies. Not by getting shot like you'd expect. Oh no. He dies from a chainsaw to the chest. The CGI blood effect is shockingly bad. A lot of the CGI is fucking dreadful in this movie. Yet somehow, it won the Canadian Screen Award for Achievement in Visual Effects back in 2013. This movie is pretty much just references and nostalgia bait. Remember You're All Gonna Die Down Here? Remember the black guy who got cut into cubes? Remember Rain? Remember Carlos? Remember the Executioner?
I remember.
They even brought back the giant shitty CGI liquor.
Off is the direction you can fuck.
Alice meets her clone's daughter and instantly cares for her, even though Ada tells Alice,
None of this is real. All these feelings she has for you, they were imprinted. A day ago, she was a blank slate. I could show you a dozen, just like her, in cold storage.
Does Alice listen? No, of course she fucking doesn't. She'll now happily lie and pretend to be the mother of this deaf clone child. Alice loves this child she's just met so much that when Becky gets kidnapped by the giant shitty CGI liquor, Alice risks everything to save her. And yes, you heard me right, the liquor kidnapped Becky, which isn't out of character at all. It's not like liquors attack and kill any life form they encounter. No. That would be absurd, to change the nature of an already established creature. The great writer Paul W.S. Anderson wouldn't do that.
I'm not even going to say anything, it's so embarrassing.
Alice saves Becky, kills the liquor and escapes the Umbrella facility before it explodes. As they drive away, the ice beneath them cracks, giving way to a submarine. Out steps Jill and the evil Rain clone. They're here for the final fight. Alice and Jill fight, and in the end, I finally get to see how the movies tackle removing the booby chest spider. Alice just pulls it off like it's nothing. Fuck you, Paul.
Fuck you! Fuck you! Fuck you! Fuck you! Fuck you! Fuck you! Fuck you!
What the fuck is Leon doing grabbing up Ada's leg like that? Leon S. Kennedy? More like Leon S.A. Kennedy. Wesker gives Alice her powers back. Not that it matters. She spent the last 2 movies without powers, and absolutely nothing changed. As shit as this movie is, the cliffhanger ending is pretty damn cool. Alice, Wesker, Ada, Leon and Jill standing on top of the White House, looking over at the impending battle between the living and the dead. I can't wait to see how they fuck it up in the next movie. 2 out of 10, somehow it's worse than Afterlife. Resident Evil: The Final Chapter. What an unimaginative movie title. Released in 2017, written and directed by Paul W.S. Anderson again.
Fuck.
On a $40 million budget, this movie made $312 million worldwide, becoming the highest grossing film in the franchise.
Here comes the money.
Fucking how did the worst Resident Evil movie manage to make the most money? One would assume the bad word of mouth from people who had already seen it, and the countless negative reviews, would have affected its performance at the box office. But no, it didn't. I sincerely hope the reason this film earned so much is because of money laundering. Surely there's no way people watched the cinematic abominations that were Afterlife and Retribution then willingly decided to put themselves through watching another one. No way! And if you, the viewer, are one of those people who did pay money to go and see this movie in cinema, fucking shame on you.
Shame. Shame.
Now, if you thought the previous installments were full of inconsistencies and contradictions, they have absolutely nothing on the final chapter. The continuity errors start immediately. During the opening scene, Alice states somebody named Professor James Marcus created the T-virus to save his daughter Alicia from progeria. But Apocalypse established the T-virus was created by Dr. Charles Ashford to help his daughter Angie be able to walk. So which one of them actually created the T-virus? Ah, fuck it. Who cares? Paul W.S. Anderson clearly doesn't. I don't know what condition Professor James Marcus's daughter has, but it isn't progeria. This is what someone with progeria looks like. Progeria, also known as Hutchinson's-Gilford progeria syndrome, is a rare genetic disorder that causes children to age rapidly, typically manifesting during the first 1 to 2 years of life. Well, Alicia definitely looks older than 2, and there's no signs of any symptoms yet. A disproportionately small face in comparison to the head. Nope, her face is proportionate. An underdeveloped jaw. No, she's got a chin. Abnormally prominent eyes. She has normal-sized eyes. A small nose. She actually has quite a big nose. Alopecia. Loss of scalp hair, eyebrows, and eyelashes. Well, unless that's a wig, she's still got scalp hair. Still has eyebrows, and they're very short, but she's still got eyelashes as well. Alice goes on to explain, when Alicia is 25, she'd have the body of a 90-year-old. And for that scene, they age her up. Yet she still has hair, eyebrows and eyelashes. Out of all the non-visible diseases the writers could have chose, how strange of Paul to pick a visible disease the actress clearly doesn't have.
You're a fucking idiot.
Alice says while recapping the previous movies,
The American government attempted to contain the outbreak by detonating a bomb. It devastated Raccoon City.
That just simply isn't true. In Apocalypse, it was Umbrella who dropped the bomb on Raccoon City.
Initiate launch proceedings.
Detonation set at T-minus 5 minutes.
Most of these films end with a cliffhanger that sets up the sequel. Then in the sequel, they wrap up that storyline as quickly as possible in the worst way possible. The final chapter takes this to the extreme. You know, I said, I can't wait to see how they fuck it up in the next movie. Well, in this one, we don't get to see how they fuck it up. That cliffhanger gets wrapped up before the movie even starts. After the recap, the final chapter opens with Washington, D.C. already destroyed. Then Alice climbs out from underground as the lone survivor. So what happened to everyone else? Where's Jill, Ada, Leon and Becky? I'm assuming they died during the battle, but I don't know for sure, because none of them are ever mentioned again. For fuck's sake, Paul.
You fucking twat.
The only thing this movie tells us about the Battle of Washington is it was a trap set up by
Wesker. He led you all here to Washington. He pretended to give you your powers back. And then he betrayed you.
Wait, hold up. Let me get this right. According to this movie, Wesker was pretending to be a good guy in Retribution? The whole thing was an elaborate ruse? He sent a strike team to rescue Alice and bring her to him so he could kill and betray them? Really? If that were true and Wesker wanted Alice dead, why did he help her in the first place? All he had to do was just leave her imprisoned in the underwater umbrella facility. There was no way for her to escape. The only reason she did was because Wesker let her out. Otherwise, she'd still be in there, being tortured by Jill, in all likelihood to death, which would have solved Wesker's problems without him having to do anything. Another question I'm left with is, how did Wesker betray Alice? The Red Queen says,
He pretended to give you your powers back.
What does she mean by pretended? Does Alice have her powers back or not? If not, then what did Wesker inject her with? And when he injects her, we literally see the T-virus enter her bloodstream, and her reaction after being injected. And the fact she has her stupid camera eyes again strongly suggests Wesker gave Alice her powers back. But then when you Google it, Google says no, Alice does not have her powers back in the final chapter.
I am so confused right now.
Claire says to Alice,
They infected you with the T-virus. You release this antivirus, it's going to kill you.
At the end of the movie, Alice breaks the airborne antivirus on the floor, which kills all the nearby zombies. Then Alice falls to the ground and dies as well. Oh no, wait, no she didn't. Unfortunately, she's fine. Apparently,
The antivirus only destroyed the T-virus within your body.
in Afterlife, the serum Wesker injected Alice with removed the T-virus from her body. And if Wesker only pretended to give Alice her powers back, that means Alice has none of the T-virus in her body. So what exactly did the antivirus destroy in Alice's body that made her collapse?
Well, you got me. By all accounts, it doesn't make sense.
Did Wesker betray Alice by making her think she had her powers back, then sending her into a zombie war zone without powers was supposed to kill her? Is that how he betrayed her? Because of dipshit Anderson, we'll never know, which is a shame. I would have much rather seen what happened during humanity's last stand against the Red Queen and her army of undead, instead of what we ended up getting in this film. Speaking of the Red Queen, she's no longer the bad guy. Since Retribution, she's gone from being in control of Umbrella and attempting to wipe out humanity,
The Red Queen is determined to destroy all life on Earth.
to now the Red Queen being just an employee of Umbrella who's trying to help Alice save humanity.
You saved them.
Oh, that pisses me off. That pisses me right off.
Where the fuck is the White Queen? Yet another unanswered question. If Paul was a more competent writer, instead of having the Red Queen be bad then good without any explanation, he could have kept the Red Queen as the bad guy, then brought the White Queen back to be the good guy who helps Alice, which would have made a lot more sense seeing as the White Queen already helped Alice in Extinction. After fans complained about the final entry in the series not tying up any of the loose ends, they released a novelisation that apparently attempts to answer the many unanswered questions. I wouldn't know though, because I refuse to spend my money on a Resident Evil novel. I don't care how cheap it is. It's just like they did with The Rise of Skywalker. If you need to release a book explaining all the stuff you couldn't be bothered to explain in your movie, then you failed as a storyteller. Let me get the one positive thing I have to say about this movie out of the way. The CGI. It's still not great, but it's better in this one than it has been in any of the other ones.
Back to it.
Alice gets strung up, upside down, and ambushed by Umbrella soldiers. After killing them all, Alice tries to use their Umbrella motorbike, but it only works for Umbrella operatives. And because she doesn't work for Umbrella anymore, she gets electrocuted and falls unconscious. How strange. I wonder why other Umbrella vehicles throughout the series haven't had that same defense mechanism. When Alice wakes up, she's confronted by none other than Dr. Isaacs. Turns out the Dr. Isaacs Alice killed in Extinction was a clone. Fucking clones. I'm so sick of fucking clones. Such a lazy plot device. The airborne antivirus cure is being kept in Raccoon City at the Hive. Wesker is already there, when Dr. Isaacs calls him up and tells him to raise the security level at the Hive to maximum, because he assumes Alice is coming after the antivirus.
You heard him? Security level to maximum.
As you wish.
But if that's where Umbrella are keeping the airborne antivirus, and they don't want anyone getting to it or it getting out of the Hive, why isn't security already at maximum? Later on, Wesker says,
Lock down the Hive. Prepare defensive measures.
Surely when he raised the security level to maximum, that would include locking down the Hive? Otherwise, what's maximum about it? And then later on, Wesker says,
Activate security measures now.
Aren't they already activated? Dr. Isaacs told you to do that ages ago. It's only when Alice is right outside the entrance of the Hive that Wesker decides to
Seal the Hive.
So I'm supposed to believe raising the security level to maximum, locking down the Hive, and activating security measures. None of those orders close the front fucking door?
Really, bitch? Really?
If you remember rightly, back in Extinction, Dr. Isaacs was head of the science division at Umbrella.
Dr. Isaacs, how good of the science division to join us?
Chairman Wesker.
Well, the final chapter tells us Dr. Isaacs and Professor James Marcus were business partners and founders of the Umbrella Corporation. So that means in Extinction, Isaacs was head scientist and head of the entire company? But if that were true, like this movie says it is, why would Isaacs let Wesker boss him about?
That decision isn't yours to make. You will take no action until this matter has been discussed by the committee at the next scheduled meeting. And Doctor, that's an order.
It just don't add up!
Fuck it, moving on. Alice fights Dr. Isaacs, and the editing is as bad as it was when she fought Nemesis. There's so many fucking quick cuts. Alice ends up cutting off Isaac's hand and uses it to steal an Umbrella motorbike to escape. The problem is, Isaacs and his tank are hot on her trail. The gunner shoots dual Gatling guns, rockets, and missiles at Alice. She's on an open road. There's literally nothing in his way, and yet somehow he misses every single shot. Even when he uses the tank's targeting system, he still can't hit her. I don't want to have to make an Asian eyes joke here, but Paul, you're making it too fucking easy.
Your eyes, it'd be good if you could open your eyes a little bit. Just pop them open.
Extinction. Alice bumps into Carlos in the Nevada desert. Afterlife. Alice bumps into Claire in Alaska. And now, Alice bumps into Claire again, this time in Raccoon City. Fuck me. Imagine if the writers could actually write, and used a different way to move the plot along, rather than just having Alice bump into people she already fucking knows. Dr. Isaacs, armed with tanks and a massive horde of undead, followed Alice to where Claire's group lived. A tall building with catapult defences and a big metal gate. How is Dr. Isaacs going to get in there? He could just unload his tank and turn the building to rubble, killing everyone inside. But that would be too easy and make too much sense. Instead, he orders,
"Release the bait."
Dr. Isaacs lets one of his prisoners loose, and Alice, from the very top of her fortress, somehow sees this woman. In a swarm of undead, in the pitch black of night, and without binoculars.
Bullshit.
Open the gate.
Open the gate!
What? Look how many zombies there are. Why would Alice do that? And why would Claire agree? She risks the lives of all of her people she knows to save one person she doesn't know? Because what? Alice said so? The woman ends up dying anyway. How does she die? Well, Dr. Isaac's gunner, who couldn't hit Alice earlier, all of a sudden has perfect fucking aim.
There we go.
Alice kills most of the zombies with her gasoline and fire waterfall, then zip lines down to fight Isaac's gunner. Now I know I can't really talk after all the jokes I've made, but having the Asian guy be a kung fu ninja is kind of racist, film. So Alice and her new group head to the hive. When they get there, they're met by the Red Queen, who shows them a video of Umbrella High Command having a meeting 17 months before the zombie outbreak occurred. In this meeting, Dr. Isaacs manages to convince Umbrella's entire board of directors that seeing as the world is going to end at some point anyway, they may as well just get it over with and end the world themselves, using the T-virus. But hold on, if the zombie apocalypse was done on purpose, why did Umbrella try to contain the outbreak? And in an attempt to stop the virus from spreading, Umbrella nuke Raccoon City. But if they wanted the virus to spread and end the world, why send the nuke? Also, later on, we find out Umbrella's high command have been cryogenically frozen and stored underneath Raccoon City below the hive, which means in Apocalypse, Umbrella sent a nuke to the same location their high-ranking officials are buried beneath.
Not a great plan.
Back to the Red Queen. She says,
My programming will not allow me to harm an employee of the Umbrella Corporation.
Oh really? Then explain this. There is actually a second thing I like about this movie. Dr. Isaacs gets picked up by a new tank, because Alice destroyed his old one. Dr. Isaacs tells the guy in charge of the tank that Alice has gone to the hive and they have to follow. The guy says those aren't his orders, even though Dr. Isaacs literally owns Umbrella, so his orders would trump anyone else's. Nevertheless, the guy continues.
I have strict orders.
As much as I don't like all the cloning shit, I get why they kept bringing Dr. Isaacs back. He's a better Wesker than Wesker is.
Thank you.
Dr. Isaacs tells Alice she's a clone of Alicia Marcus, the girl with supposed progeria disease from the beginning of the movie. But our Alice can't believe it.
I'm not a clone.
Yes you are. The Alice from the first movie was the original Alicia clone. However, she died in the helicopter at the end of Apocalypse, so not only is this Alice a clone, she's a clone of a clone. After everything Wesker has survived throughout these movies, He finally dies in this one, and you'll never guess how they do it. You remember the Red Queen said,
"My programming will not allow me to harm an employee of the Umbrella Corporation."
Well, Alicia gives Wesker the old Donald Trump.
You're fired! Get out of here! You're fired!
The Red Queen then slams a door down on Wesker's leg, crushing it and trapping him in place. So Wesker can dodge bullets, but not a fucking door?
Fuck off.
Alice hands Wesker a detonator that will blow up the entire hive when he releases the trigger. They then have him beg like a little bitch.
Help me.
We've literally seen him survive being blown up multiple times. And in the end, what kills Wesker for good is an explosion. Wow, Paul. Just fucking wow.
I can see through your writing that you're fucking retarded.
Fuck it. There's more to complain about, but I really can't be bothered. This is the worst, most forgettable movie I've ever had the displeasure to watch. 1 out of 10, wouldn't recommend. These films have a lot of problems that I haven't even mentioned. I thought this video was already pretty long. I've had enough of your time, and these movies have definitely had enough of my time. If you enjoy them, good for you. I'm happy for you. But in my opinion,
they are gay and they are retarded.
Smoke weed every day.